What's up, money lovers? Welcome back to the Vinny Joe Show, formerly Investment Club. Man, it's been a while. How the heck are you guys doing? I hope you guys have all been having an awesome year. I have had quite the year, transformational year, lot of changes, a lot of good things. I have actually my next video, I'm going to be talking about something huge that has happened that's been really great. Blessing in disguise. But for today, I want to talk about how I turned market chaos into a 10 bagger with Google stock here using leaps, as well as my two of my basically my no-brainer plays, I think, for the next 5 years. And we'll also get into a couple bonus stocks I've been looking at. So there's two more I want to touch on really quick at the end. But I'm back. I've been in my MIA a little bit here, but this is my first YouTube video actually in 2025. I figured I had to post at least one, but I have been posting a lot on Substack. You can check that out. I'll link it in the pinned comment, bjsnewsletter.substack.com. I have been posting a lot there, and I've been talking about Google all year. I think my most recent couple articles were in June and July. I've been pounding the table on it in our Discord all year. So let's get into it. So I bought Google Leaps. I kind of was averaging into them all year, but I did buy a lot of them in that Liberation Day market meltdown period of chaos that we had in April. And a mere 7 months later, those leaps that I bought in April are up a whopping 1,140%. So that I think affirms what I've been saying for a long time. I thought Google was pretty criminally undervalued. It was the most undervalued play of the Mag 7. And as I look to the next 5 years here, there's two core companies that I think are no-brainers, and the two companies are Google and Amazon. So let's talk about Google first. Before this massive run up, I think Google is now at a fair value point, and I'm actually not buying anymore now, but at the same time, that's because it's my biggest position already. It wouldn't make sense for me to be buying anymore here. I've been building out my position, as low as when it was at like the $140, $150 price range. I snagged some shares and calls. But at these levels, I feel like it's fairly valued. And honestly, all this TPU news that I'm sure you guys have seen, I don't need to go too much in depth explaining. I think it's been great for Google, but at the same time, I could kind of see it being a local top here. And if we look at the chart, you can kind of see that, it's kind of flatlining here. It could be basing for another leg up, but this is not where I'd be going heavy. Again, if I had no position, I would definitely be wanting to buy Google here if it was me. But the chart does look good. I mean, it's above all its key moving averages. It's above the 8 and 21 EMA, way above 50 and 200. So I personally I don't think this is the time for me to be buying a ton more Google, but I would love if it would drop, if it would pull back quite a bit. I would buy more and I think that's I'll get into some reasons here, what that what it would take for that. But so while this is by no means a bet the portfolio moment, that's because it's already my top holding. I plan to continue to hold this stock long term, and I would love to opportunistically continue to dollar cost average. If we do get some sorts of little pullbacks, because I do think this is the clear winner in the AI space. As things stand today, they're crushing it. I mean, they are doing absolutely incredible. Now, I think it was Elon who had originally said something along these lines, but sometimes you don't need to look very far to find investment opportunities. At the very least, I think that this can be a very useful starting point. And that's, what companies' products do you use? Do you love, and or do you think one or two things can happen? Number one, that their products can keep getting better. Or number two, they could make new and useful products in the future. So make more new useful products in the future. If you're investing in companies that are doing any combination of those things, chances are you're probably going to do well. Objects in motion tend to stay in motion. And I feel like companies that go south, it's a lot more to do with just terrible management. You think about the greatest companies, they have to do something horribly, horribly wrong to really lose their dominance or to go bankrupt in the worst case. But there's no reason they should. I mean, you think of companies like IBM or Microsoft that they've gone through these stretches where they really had a tough time. And it really just came down to bad management. I mean, with IBM, it was like just they were like the technology darling of the United States for a long while. Intel's another one. That's a stock. Oh man, okay, let me stop talking here. There's so many, but Intel's one I've been looking at too that I've been buying. But IBM, Intel, kind of the same thing here. Just they were so ahead. They were the best in their industry in the space, and they just started focusing only on the short term, appeasing the short term Wall Street desires quarterly, annually, and they just lost sight of long term and stopped innovating. And that's where you can lose. And I feel like there's just an easy way to keep tabs on that. That's just what happens when you follow management and you just can see if this is a trusted operator or not. And I think a lot of founder led companies tend to stay on the right track with a higher probability of success, whether the founder stays on as a CEO or he's involved in the company in some way still. Maybe he, like it's interesting with Spotify recently that moved Daniel Ek. He's still going to be very involved. He's just not going to be the CEO, which can make sense. We'll see what happens, but as long as he's behind the scenes, he's still driving the innovation. It makes sense. So I feel like founder-led companies, that is, you can kind of cut through a lot and have a high chance of success just if you start right there. But so the two stocks are Amazon and Google. Let's talk a little bit about each. So I use YouTube. We're on YouTube right now. I use YouTube every day. I pay for premium so that I don't have to watch the ads. I just saw that in 2025 for Amazon now, my household placed 119 Amazon orders, and that was a few days ago. And that's not even like our Christmas shopping hasn't even happened. So I'm confident with Christmas coming up, we're going to end the year averaging more than one order every 3 days. So let me just repeat that and clarify. I give Amazon my money once every 3 days. Can you think of anything else that you spend money on in that cadence? Are you giving someone your money every 3 days? I sure can't think of anything else. I actually would probably punch a hole in the wall if I was giving any other company my money every 3 days. But Amazon is just too useful. It saves me a ton of time. I don't need to go to some zoo, some circus in a store, some department store, and waste my time trying to find something that they may or may not have. These places are mobbed. It just comes to my house, sometimes in as little as a few hours. Worst case, it's like next day, 2 days. I mean, it's just crazy. And obviously, there's so much more to Amazon, but at the base. So I think the good thing with Amazon and Google is that whether AI turns out to be a bust, which is seeming less likely now than before, it seems it's really here to stay, and it is going to maybe be the biggest technological revolution we've ever had. But whether that's true or not, both of these businesses are going to continue to thrive either way. They have great prospects for AI. They're clear leaders in space. So whether AI gets as big as everyone is anticipating, it's not going to matter for these two because they have such wide moats and competitive advantages that are nearly impossible to replicate going on outside of AI. So Amazon, as I alluded to earlier, is a one-stop shop for all your needs from everyday items. I mean, there's basically nothing you can't get there. Clothes, increasingly to food, prescriptions, much more. I mean, it's going to be getting drone delivered to your house in a few years. That's going to become ubiquitous. So, and by the way, this is another facet of the idea here. You think about companies like Amazon and Google, you think about all the trends. I've said this for a long time. A lot of the time, it's better to just buy the clear winner who's already winning today. It's a lot harder to be looking for the next, like you see these articles like the next Google, the next Amazon. I run away from those and I hate those statements because it's 90% of the time it is false and they are not the next that company. It's not, there is no the next Google. Okay. Google is the next Google. Amazon is the next Amazon. And again, so with smart management, and they don't even have to be that smart, they just have to not be totally incompetent. They are going to reap the benefits of all these new industries. I feel like Google and Amazon, and as well as some other mag 7, tech players have been showing you can buy pure play AI companies, or you can just buy companies that it's probably going to help a lot. I mean, AI is obviously going to help every company that adopts it. Anyone not adopting it in some way is doomed. But they're just like drones, whatever the big thing is going to be. You can buy a drone company today that makes no money and it's very risky and probably not going to work out. A lot of them are private, the good ones. Or you can buy Amazon, who's going to be using drones 100%. I mean, they already are, kind of A/B testing, just doing on a small scale. They're rolling it out. It's obviously going to take time. This is like, I'm talking 5, 10 years from now, but it's going to happen. So if you believe in drones, you can buy a drone company, but you probably should just own some Amazon too. So anyway, this stuff, all this stuff is just dropping to my house, and it all gets to your house faster and faster each year, which management has talked about like ad nauseum. The effect of there's a flywheel effect here. The effect is that you shop more often. I guess since I'm talking so much about Amazon, I might as well pull up their chart instead here. But we touched on the Google chart already. I'll do some technicals on Amazon as well in a second here. But the effect of the items getting to your house faster and faster is it causes a flywheel, because it's a flywheel for growth, because management has said how when they increase delivery speeds, customers come back to shop not only more often, but they tend to spend more money per order. So you think about that. As they increase the speeds, they are just going to increase the revenue that much more. And this is what's been happening year after year after year. It's how they're approaching $1 trillion of revenue. They're probably going to be the first company to hit $1 trillion of revenue. And they're growing double-digit percentages every year because they're just able to continue to optimize and make it more efficient and offer more. So they retain everyone. And not to mention the amount of other things you get exposure to. Obviously, AWS is monumental. Now they have the Zoox robo taxis. They have a great advertising segment. You got third-party seller services, Prime Video, a rapidly expanding international segment, satellites, and much more. I mean, what more do you need? And then similarly, I'll touch on Google, but really quick, some Amazon. Amazon chart here is interesting. It's below the 8 and 21 EMA, which is usually not a great sign. Again, it could quickly snap back here, but if it does not, I mean, you're probably going to see a move down here. We'll see if it holds. I guess it's coming into the 100-day. Kind of broke actually through both of those, so that's not great. And I do have my hesitations on the market, just in the short to medium term here. Obviously, long term, these are all going to go up, but I could see pullbacks. So I'm not like putting wads of cash in right now. If I am, it's going more into defensive type plays, which I'm going to touch on a couple of at the end of the video here. But you can kind of see the last time Amazon broke the 8 and 21, it dumped from 235 all the way down to 216. So is something similar going to happen here? That looks like a strong support area, that 200 DMA. That would make sense. It's kind of bounced off that twice now. So maybe this could drop another $10, at which point, I might have to start nibbling again. But back to Google. So Google has a monopoly, not a monopoly, on search. They have Gemini, which is consistently just floating between the top 1, 2, maybe the third best LLMs. I use it every day. Also, I just used it to help me fix my water softener, my water heater, and all this stuff. I use it every day. It is my personal assistant, and it's free, and it's crazy. It's amazing. I love you, Gemini. I love you. So similarly to Amazon, the buck doesn't stop there, because they have Waymo, robotaxis that are actually doing paid rides, a lot of them. And they've been doing it, and they're expanding into more and more cities. They've got YouTube, which we're on right now. They've got YouTube Music, Gmail, Google Maps, Google Docs, much more. I mean, do I need to keep going? And all of these businesses are a perfect complement to their AI because you're seeing how they're kind of embedding it into these things. You can use it as a plugin, and it's going to make your time spent on each of these domains more efficient, which is kind of also a flywheel because that's going to reinforce their moat. So with Google and Amazon, it appears the only bear case one could make outside of black swan events would be some sort of government intervention to break these companies up. That's the way I see it. And as long as the narrative is we must beat China at AI at all costs, a breakup is simply not happening. So it's definitely not going to be in the cards in this administration, maybe in the next, depending who gets in. But you know that's like, can you really plan around that? I mean, obviously you can plan. I'm not going to put my whole portfolio in these stocks, but it's unlikely. They're too big to fail. That's like the only bear case I can realistically see, you know? And obviously in the short term, sure, you could get a slowdown in AI spending, something like that. But I think that would give us, depending on how much the panic is, if there's like a huge panic that everyone all of a sudden is cutting their capex and they're not buying chips anymore, and AI is maybe got a little ahead of itself, if there's a huge panic, a big stink about that, maybe we can get some sort of Liberation Day level sales again, but that's going to take a lot. And I don't really see that happening. I could see small pullbacks just on demand concerns in the short term. But like I said, it doesn't matter long term either way. These companies are going to crush it. All right. So that's that. You guys, by the way, go check how many Amazon orders you placed this year and let me know in the comments below. I'd be very interested. Am I alone in this? Am I a shopaholic here? I don't think so. I'm telling you, I buy stocks. I don't buy anything that's not essential, but I buy Amazon 120 days a year, apparently. Crazy. I mean, that's not only me, but a lot of it is. All right. So the two stocks I'll throw in as a little bonus here. What I'm more focused on as we're kind of sitting at an all-time high and things are seeming uneasy, started buying Clorox recently. I got very intrigued here. Clorox has, after today's dip, it might well be above a 5% dividend yield again. And I'm trying to position myself into a lot of defensives because again, in my situation, I already have a ton of Google. It's my biggest position. I have Amazon. I have a good, decent position in these companies. So it doesn't really make sense for me to buy more of them because if they keep going up and AI is the bee's knees, I'm going to make money. But should they go down, I want things that I can kind of lean on in that, if we go down that path. And Clorox is an interesting one. It's tanked. I mean, it's a great company that's like a dividend aristocrat. It was in 160 at the beginning of the year, and it's just kind of steadily been going down. And we'll see what happens here. This might be the bottom. This like 90. It got as low as about 97, let's say. So pretty close. Again, and the RSI I think briefly got below 20 there. Yeah. So I bought some shares here, and I quickly was up 10%, but then it kind of pulled back again. But this is one, again, nothing crazy. I think I have like 1% of my portfolio in it. If it keeps dropping, I'm probably going to increase that. 5% dividend. It's Clorox. Where are they going? They own everything that you can think of, like with bleach and obviously your detergents, but they also own Brita. They own Nature Valley, charcoal. They have like cat litter and stuff, I believe. So, it's not like this company is going anywhere. I think that the one thing to watch is, they obviously have had their issues since COVID, where they just, wow, it's crazy that COVID was, I think we can say that now on YouTube, right? Hopefully no issue. It's crazy that that was as long ago as it was that I have to now go to the 10-year chart because it was more than 5 years ago. It feels like it was 2 years ago. Does anybody else feel that way? Like life is just flying. It's insane. So anyway, of course, Clark got way ahead of itself from COVID. I should probably stop saying it. I'm gonna get in trouble here. It got to 240, which it never should have, obviously. And then it kind of screwed them up for a few years because they kind of had to re-optimize all the inventory. And they've been having a very tough time, as you can see. It's had quite a fall from grace. But for a long time, it bounced around in this like call it 120-ish to 160 range. And I actually had traded it a little bit back here. I would buy it when it was dipping. I would use it for options. I'd sell puts when it was getting close to 120. And you can see it just kept bouncing there. And then lately it's been going down even more. But it seems like a steal here to me, to be honest. Maybe not a steal, but it's a good play as a hedge type play, I think. The one thing to watch out for, I think, is just these smaller and or these off-label, off-brand names, let's say, because it's not even off-label anymore. It's like the wholesale club brands, or these stores are just doing their own brand. That's eating into their market share, I believe. So just cheaper alternatives. So, you go to buy your Clorox, it's $20 for the detergent, or you could buy the store's crappy knockoff for only $17, which their revenue that might be eating into like 1% or a couple percent a year. So I think that's really the only risk to like keep an eye on. And if we get a massive pandemic, you can get a three bagger here, but hopefully that is not going to happen again anytime soon. The other stock that I'm going to have to do another separate video to just go deep into this one again. Symbotic, our baby that we've been talking about on this channel for like 4 years, since it IPO'd in 2022 here. Go back and check the videos. Wait for my slow computer to load here. Apologies. This stock has been crazy. I've been following this year. Just look at this. Let me go to the year-to-date chart. Maybe let's do 6 months. I'm trying to think what looks the most ridiculous. I mean, year to date, you could have got this stock even just the beginning of this year, $20, $24. Liberation era, it dropped to 17, 16 with everything else. And then it definitely got way ahead of itself. I mean, you can kind of see here, this thing went to the moon. Mr. Cohen, the CEO, how was your trip to the moon? Coming down a little bit now, but it got as high as like almost $90, high 80s. Got way ahead of itself, 100%. So I own some calls in this one too that are up like a few 100%. I had bought the 30 strike calls back when I don't think I quite caught the bottom, but probably when it was in the mid 20s. I was buying the 30 calls, got about another year on those, I believe, but those are up like 300%, which is craziness. I I would not buy it here. The chart is looking a little scary. You know, it's tough because it would be easy if this was a lower high, but it kind of actually hit a new high, most recently November 26th here. But it's had a very quick fall from grace. There's been a lot of news that, again, I'll probably just say for another video, but I'll give you the quick snippet. They did a share issuance, Goldman Sachs, nothing to see here, folks. The day before the share issuance, downgrade Symbotic. The stock tanks like $20. Then the next day they come out with the share issuance, it tanks more. Maybe there was a day in between there. Okay, so there's probably nothing to see. They at least waited a day in between. They must have had no idea this was coming. Then it tanked more. And lo and behold, Goldman Sachs is the one running the offering. They're the front man. Well, would you look at that? Nothing to see here, folks. There is no list. So broke through the 821. I mean, I could see this thing just crater. I think it's really going to depend on the AI sentiment, but at the same time, I think there's another one that's a long-term winner. If we could get it at the right place, right there, wow, put price and place together there. If we get it at the right price and place, maybe that's a new word we can invent. If we can get it at the right price, I would buy more. Again, I already have some, so I'm not interested right now. What I have been doing is selling puts way, way, way lower at the 30 strike. I've gone about a year out, and they're currently paying like $500 a contract. So my worst case is I would be going longs. I can't even go that low on the chart. I'd be going long Symbotic at $25 a share. Should I get assigned, which you can kind of see here, that coincides with all these big, beautiful moving averages. If we go all the way back like to June, the stock has not touched that level since Liberation Day. And the stock would need to take more than another 50% haircut from here. And it would need to take a 70% haircut from the top. So I think the only way we get something like that is if you have like another 2022 level crash. In the meantime, what is that? 500 on $30, maybe a 15-ish percent, return on my money. I mean, that's pretty good. So that's kind of something else I consider kind of, I guess you could say, a defensive play, just because I'm not buying it anywhere near the current level, but I would love to buy it down here. So I'll make a longer video on Symbotic if you guys want to hear more about that. But next video, I have something really exciting I want to share that I think can help a lot of people. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys next time. Good to be back. Hope you guys have an awesome rest of the year. Take care.